Good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. And it's Monday morning, 6 o'clock. Well, we all have our inner perfectionists, that need to be perfect. It's actually deeply ingrained in us. It's a part of our upbringing, our education, and our culture. And we're always told that we need to achieve the best results, be the best student, get the best grades, and on and on and on, right? So, the problem with being a perfectionist is that it's impossible. It's impossible to reach perfection. Every time you do something, you'll find something wrong with it, or you think of ways in which you could have done it better. I find myself doing this so often, but there is a way around it. You will never feel content with your work or yourself because there's always room for improvement. And there really is. And when it comes to perfectionism, the problem is it never ends. The only way to break free from this destructive thought is to let go of the expectations of being content with what we have actually achieved without comparing ourselves to others. That's the culprit. It is not easy to let go of what we've been taught, how to always strive to be the best. But it is worth it when we're able to see the bigger picture. This is why we should let go of the need to be perfect and instead focus on being better than ever before. The need to be perfect can lead us into never-ending cycle of self-doubt and anxiety, which in turn can make us actually less productive in work and in life. In fact, it can stall us or keep us stuck. We should aim for progress, not perfection, because that's how we'll be able to achieve our goals, those things that are so important to us. You know, stay tuned and we'll talk more about that. Hold on. I will be right back. Well, welcome back to Monday Mastery Moments with Michelle, live, where busy moms who find themselves mid career or solopreneurs can hitting that different season, that new season in their life, get tangible ways to enjoy the success of life without the sacrifice. Now, I'm live 4 Mondays out of the month at 6 a.m. And you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And I'm here to give you your wake up call. Look, make sure you follow me on your platform of choice so that you won't miss a single episode. And I'm in a different studio today, and I'm not used to sitting down, but I wanted to be here with you today. So I'm so excited to be here. And me, well, you're like, this girl is going on, but who is she? Well, I'm Michelle O'Neill, your boundary strategist, and I love a great conversation. So why don't you grab a cup of coffee, tea, or warm beverage of choice and settle in so that we can hop into today's Monday Mastery Moment. We all strive to be our best, and perfectionist tendencies can be a difficult task to overcome. In fact, perfectionism is a common trait that can lead to procrastination. Go figure. Unhappiness, it can also lead to unhappiness and feelings of inadequacy or guilt because you're never measuring up. You are not perfect and cannot be perfect. As a recovering perfectionist myself, oh yeah, I am a recovering perfectionist. I know that if I put too much pressure on myself to get everything perfect, it can actually paralyze me. And I don't like that feeling. So, how can we let go of trying to be perfect? Let's look at three things that will get us closer to debunking that perfectionism. And we're going to discuss dismantling, I can't even talk today, dismantling the quest for perfectionism. 5 tips to overcome perfectionism and live a happier life. Yes, it can be done. And a journey towards unconditional self acceptance, because that's where it ends. We need to be able to accept ourselves. So, why don't you tell me who you are, who's here, and just drop it in the comments where you're from. And then I want to know, are you a perfectionist or recovering perfectionist? Let me know again who you are. If you're catching the replay, remember to put hashtag replay who you are, where you're from, and tell me, are you a perfectionist? I would love to hear. So, first, we want to talk about um, dismantling the quest for perfectionists, how to dismantle that quest for perfectionism. So, with that said, the problem with perfectionism is that it can lead to, you know, things like self criticism, always never measuring up, finding the things that you're always doing wrong, and just beating yourself down. It also leads to the inability to actually complete tasks because you're paralyzed because you know that you have to get it right, or feeling that you can't get it right. And so that gives you anxiety about making mistakes. Oh no, what if I do it wrong? What if I don't measure up? And then excessive self monitoring of your performance is always nitpicking the things that you do. Well, just the simplest thing, and that again cause you to stall in the process, never moving forward because you're so stuck on getting that thing right. In fact, one of my favorite shows is about a person who's always striving to be perfect. If you've ever watched Monk and you want to know what I'm talking about, in fact, that's OCD. But if you want to see someone that's always striving for perfection, that's Monk. He cannot let a crooked picture go, or something out of alignment, or anything that's wrong, or he feel that's not perfect. He always has to write it, and it stalls him in for moving forward in his life, in moving forward in just walking forward, just the normal day-to-day forwardness. And so we have to dismantle this quest for perfectionism because it does stop us in our track. It's important to understand that perfectionism is not a personality trait, but more of a unhealthy behavior, and so it can be changed. Remember, I said I am a recovering perfectionist, so it can be something that is unlearned or replaced with healthy behaviors such as self compassion, understanding that you are not perfect. You will never be perfect, but you can get better. It's about mindfulness and acceptance to who you are, and learning to rejoice and be joyful in the traits, the wonderful traits that you do have. We want to find ways of letting go of the feeling of shame or self blame or hopelessness that we can't get better, because we can always get better, but we'll never, ever be perfect. That's just not possible. So, that takes us to our second point, and I want to talk about the 5 tips to overcoming perfectionism and living a happier life. And that is possible. If we let that perfectionism go, we can be happier in where we are. We have to learn to accept our imperfections. It's not about being perfect, but about being good enough and getting not getting caught up, but getting caught up in the quest for a perfect life stalls us in understanding that we can be good enough. There is a lack of our resting in the place of good enough that stalls us in our quest for perfectionism, and it can't be done. It doesn't mean, and let me explain to you what good enough, resting in good enough is. It doesn't mean that you have to stay there, but there is a difference between improving on something and obsessing about something. And that's what perfectionism is. It's obsessing on something. We're always striving for excellence and improving on something, because striving for improving is excellence, but striving for what did I say? A striving for obsessing about something, that's reaching for the unobtainable with no regard for our well-being and on the well-being of others. It's when we're obsessing on the unattainable that we encroach on other people's lives, and we become not pleasant to be around. The pursuit of perfectionism can lead to depression, anxiety, and other health issues. And it can be possible. I want you to understand that it can be possible to strive for excellence, because that's something that I personally strive for every day. And that's why I can say that I am a, re, a recovering perfectionist, but I am striving for excellence. And the thing about striving for excellence is it's addictive. It's something that is actually a high, something that you want to do and you want to share with others. You want others to strive to be the best that they can be. And I'm always encouraging others to be the best that they can be, but to also understand that in being the best that they can be, they will never be perfect. There is no one here on this earth that is perfect. So, excellence isn't self centered. I want you to understand the difference. Excellent isn't self centered, it's about the benefit of others, it's relational centered. It's about building our relationships and living in integrity to how we want to show up in life. It's striving to create a better world around us and a better relation with others. But on the other side, perfectionism is about being so good that you're better than everyone else, and it's unattainable. We will never be better than everyone else. There's always the next best, there's always someone that will one up you and that will one up them. So it is unrealistic goal, something that can never be attained. And it ladders us with not being able to accept our own self, not feeling valued and not feeling loved. Number two is we need to stop comparing ourselves with others. One of the first things that I've learned is to ask myself when I compare myself to others and their accomplishments, do I want to walk in their shoes? Is what they went through to be who they are something that I want to deal with? And one of the things I tell myself is to ask them what their journey was, is to take the time to learn their journey, to be where they are, to be who they are. What are the things that they had to experience? What are the battles that they had to fight? What are the struggles that they had to have to obtain that space that they're in now, that joy that they're experiencing now? You never know the shoes that they had to fill and the path that they had to walk. And then I ask myself, am I willing to suffer the pains and the challenges that they suffered to experience their joy. And most of the time, I'm not. I don't know what their journey has been like. And so, one of the things that we can do in compassion and love for others is to listen to their journey. And if we don't take that time to understand their journey, it can end up with us being patronizing and condescending, or even worse, hateful towards them. Unfortunately, the daily barrage of social media and the constant news feed of others have accelerated our falling into the trap of comparison. But what we have to remember is their news feeds. And just like us, we only show most of the time the good things that happen in our lives. We want people to share in our joy. We want them to celebrate with us. And so those are the things that we share. But it's not the full picture of our life. And most of the time, we don't want to share our suffering. So I can't impress upon you enough. Just be the best you. There really isn't a comparison. No one can do you like you. No one can live your life to the utmost like you. And we need to learn how to lean into that truth that there's no one like us. No one. And then 3, I want you to give up on the unrealistic expectations. There will always be things that we can't control, so stop worrying about them. Did you get that? We can't control it. So stop worrying about it. That it's easy to get carried away with the thoughts about our future and our unrealistic expectations, but we can't control our past and we can't control our future. And so the thing is to rest and to revel and to enjoy where we are right now. And you may be thinking about what you want on a professional and personal level, what it looks like in these next few years or even the next few months. And believe me, that's a good thing, because we want to plan. We want to reach our goals and make sure that those good things happen and do everything in our ability to make those things happen. And that's what I'm all about, is the planning and creating strategies for being successful in our endeavors in life. However, when we begin to try to make the outcome with disregards for the feelings of others, and without understanding where our control lies, we find ourselves sinking into a sea of perfectionism and leaving the safety of excellence. We want to strive to be good, absolutely. And so an example is striving to be a good mom for our children is actually a great thing. And understanding our responsibility to equip them for the challenges of the world, and having those right, those good, healthy emotions and the mentality of coping with the resources is noble. We want our child to be able to understand what's going on around them and finding the ways to coping with them, finding ways to be the best them, understanding that although we can't have everything we want, we can rejoice in the things that we have, and understanding when we get that no, how to accept that, but also how to move on. These are great things for our children to understand, and noble things that we can teach them, and that's our responsibility. But when it's all said and done, we have equipped them to move forward in life. And the outcome of their choices, the outcome of of being the best, and the outcome of the choices that they're making is not within our control and not our responsibility. When they make those decisions, it is now the decisions and the outcome of their decisions is now in their control. And how they receive them, how they act upon them, is nothing that we have control over, and we have to relinquish our control. It may be actually, actually this is oversimplifying what I'm saying, but it's the same framework and it works in every aspect of our lives. We have to realize where our responsibility lies and where we have to relinquish our control. We are responsible for our actions and our reactions, but we're not responsible for the actions of others and their reactions. Letting go of our unrealistic expectation can make us happier and reduce our anxiety about what should happen in the future. Knowing where our responsibility lies releases us from this anxiety. While it is possible to allow ourselves to accept the possibility that life will not always be rosy, and allowing ourselves to be hopeful about the future can help us maintain better, healthy, emotional, mental, and emotional health. And then I can't leave today without talking about setting boundaries for ourselves, making sure that we're not overcommitted. Setting boundaries for ourselves is key to maintaining our healthy life. And it's important to know when you need time for yourself versus when you need to be there and available for others. We have to be honest to ourselves and for ourselves. And it's important to know when we're overcommitting in our life, especially when we're working towards something and it excites us. I am excited when I am spending time getting ready, preparing to becoming before you. And I'm excited when I know that I'm going to come here on Monday mornings and share with you the things that I've learned, and I'm going to talk to you and share with you. But sometimes I can let preparing for that take away from spending time with my family because I'm so excited about what I'm learning and the things that I want to share. But let me encourage you that being with those we love and taking the time to share with them, and even sharing with the things that I want to share with you, is so important. Building those relationships and being the best that we can be, and being excellent in their lives too, is so important. And that leads me to my next point, is building that support system for dealing with our perfectionist tendencies. Yeah, many of us are perfectionists, and we have high standards for ourselves, but not only for ourselves, for others. And so we put unrealistic expectations on others. And so we can get frustrated with the people in our lives who don't live up to our perfectionism. But there is a way to deal with perfectionist tendencies so that we can enjoy life more fully and be less frustrated with others. And I do still find myself frustrated with others. It is so important to have a support system in place when dealing with perfectionists and having those perfectionist tendencies. By sharing, the thing is, we want to share our feelings and experiences with others. Like when I'm sharing with you, it helps build a community of understanding and support. And it's also important to know that this can be helpful in reducing our stress and anxiety that's associated with perfectionism. Have you realized that when you share things with others, when you're going through things, that when you just talk it through and when you're sharing it with other people, that it allows that space to let go. And so that's so important to have a support system around us that can help and encourage us and motivate us when we feel like even giving up, because we'll never change who we are. With that alone, that thought is resting in perfectionism instead of embracing where we are and the people that are in our lives. And that takes us to our final point, is the journey towards unconditional acceptance. And let me tell you right up front, it is so hard. The truth is, most perfectionists are actually stuck in a pattern of self-criticism and devaluation. It's being unable to understand our value and criticizing the imperfections that we find in ourselves. Often we're plagued by self-doubt and worry. Are we enough? Can we be enough? Do people like us? Why don't they like us? Because we're not perfect. But I have a secret for you. Neither are they. They're not perfect either. And we're only seeing certain aspects of them. And we're looking at them through tainted lenses. How many times if you wear glasses, and I'm wearing them, do you take them and you realize they're dirty? And that in order to see clearly, we must take them off and clean them from time to time. We're often comparing ourselves to others, and we talked about that earlier. And we see things as doing things better than us. And it makes us feel even worse about ourselves. And it can become a vicious cycle of perfectionism and self-criticism. So the thing is, we must identify and recognize our own worth despite our flaws. We have flaws, but so does everyone else. And despite our mistakes, I've learned something that I've learned. And if you know anything about me, I used to perform. I used to be a vocalist. And I was a vocalist in the military, the Air Force Band. And thank you for being there. If you're there, I want to encourage you to tell me, what are you struggling with in being a perfectionist? But let me tell you this story. As in the Air Force Band, one of the things that I learned is, as we sing, as a vocalist, as a singer, you never are perfect. And one of the things I learned, when you're singing with others, when you're trying to do harmony, when you're trying to blend with others, and that's what we're trying to do in life. We're trying to blend with others and be a part of the community. Well, when you're doing this, you have to learn to listen to others. And one of the things that those that are training you and standing in front of you, they have to be able to hear you too. They have to be be able to see or hear, because we're talking about music, but we have to be able to see. We have to be able to hear when you're wrong. They have to hear when you're wrong. So one of the things that my teacher, my leader taught me is that when you're wrong, if you're quiet, they can't hear you. And so when we're making a mistake in secret, no one sees it. So how can they call you out about it? When you're trying to hide it even from yourself, you don't see it. Just like my teacher couldn't hear it. So how could she correct me and help me be better if you're so caught up in not being seen or wrong that you don't allow those who are supporting you to show you where you're off course so you can make that adjustment? So I always say, if I'm wrong, let me be loud and wrong so that I can be corrected. Let me be loud and wrong. And so let your mistake be bold so that you can see it and recorrect it and correct it and set yourself on a course of excellence. It involves knowing your own worth, understanding that you are worthy. It is so important to be kind and forgiving towards not only others, but towards ourselves. To give ourselves that space to grow and to learn, to be loud and wrong. And ultimately, not only ourselves, but everyone can benefit from us living a more authentic life, leaning into who we are and free from the chains of perfectionism. The process is not easy, but it is so worth it. It's important to be patient and compassionate with ourselves and to keep moving forward by accepting ourselves for who we are. We can learn to let go of the need to be perfect and start living our life in a more authentic and meaningful way. It's important to work towards accepting ourselves unconditionally and letting go of our need to be that perfect one. By doing so, we free ourselves from the constant stress and anxiety that often comes from wanting to be perfect, and allowing ourselves to live not only a happy life, but a joyful life and a meaningful life. Finally, as a dear friend of mine, Mary Rose says, remember, it's about progress, not perfectionism. That's the goal. Progress, not perfect. Look, I hope that you have walked away with a new resolve to let go of that need to be perfect and just settle in wanting to be excellent, the best you. And if you would like support and, and encouragement and a community that will lift you up and encourage you, join our community, the Monday Crew, where you'll get tips, tidbits, and techniques to master your Monday and your life. And you can find out how to do that on meet.michelleoneil.com. And let me put that up here for you. at meet.michelleoneil.com and to join the crew /crew. If you want to know more about what I'm up to, make sure that you visit meet.michelleoneil.com. That is going across the thing here. And I have a free gift for you while you're there. I am so thrilled that you were able to hang out with me today. Yay! On my morning Monday morning chat. You are amazing. And I hope that you enjoyed this live. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, follow, or register, whatever the platform you're on, whatever it instructs you to do, so you won't miss a single live in the future. Let me know how I can serve you and support you further so you can master every day like it's your Monday. Take care.